Boy, take a chance, will you let me ride? Way oh, way oh, oh. I could be the best thing in your life. Way oh, way oh, oh. You got me singing. Way oh, way oh, oh. You look like a cow, you could treat me right. Way oh, oh. Boy, take a chance, will you let me ride? Way oh, oh. I could be the best thing in your life.
Hi, this is Ginger. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to focus on Cielo. So a little background on Cielo if you haven't seen any of my previous videos or you're new to the channel. He had been a kill pen rescue. So he had been adopted out of a Louisiana kill pen by a family here in Northern California. And then at some point about 3-4 years ago, he ended up on Craigslist, and my trainer saw him and she went ahead and adopted him so he didn't end up in the kill pen slaughter line again. And I used him as a trail horse, and then I started doing some dressage with him. He's very, very talented for dressage. He's very naturally gifted for it. We believe he is a Lipizzan. So somewhere along the line he ended up in the kill pen, and that does happen from time to time, even with nice horses like him. He had never been really educated in his riding, and you'll see the underside of his neck, the underside part of his neck, we call it upside down. He's very heavily muscled because he's been used to bracing against the hand. He's about 15 to 17 years old, so he's been doing this his whole life, so it's very different from what I'm trying to teach him to do. So I've had to make some equipment adjustments, and I've been trying to tinker around with what works best for him to get him off my hands and not have him push against my hands so much and accept the contact without fighting it. So I'm going to walk you through here. I'm going to do a voiceover of some of the clips, and just to kind of show you a little progression of what we've been working on this year. I'm hoping to bring him back out in the fall or next year at first, second level. Schooling third level, or I'm schooling second level with him right now. I'm starting the walk canter transitions, and eventually once I get the lead change done, which we're close, once I get all the basics taught, then I'm hoping to be able to show him at third level, which is where I could use the double. And the double is going to be key because he really needs a leverage bit because of the way he's been ridden all his life. It's very difficult for me to ride him in a straight snaffle. So anyway, with all that said, I'm going to walk you through and do a voiceover of what we've been doing. So this was filmed on February 8th. And you can see I'm just sort of letting him plod along. I'm riding him bareback and not really asking a whole heck of a lot. Now we move forward to April 16th. You can see he's still moving with his head in the air. I'm still riding him with the Argentine. The Argentine is just a leverage snaffle bit. And I'm using the barefoot saddle, the treeless saddle. I'm trying to get him to reach down, trying to get him to work over his back. He's just not really moving forward into my hand, and he's not willing to reach down. This was recorded on the 22nd of April, and I've added some trot poles. And I'm just trying to get him to go forward, trying to get him to use his back, to stretch over his back, so that way I can get him to lift his back and stop bracing against my hand. Still riding him in the Argentine and the barefoot saddle. Not very comfortable with the barefoot saddle, don't like the way it was sitting on him. It gives too much movement when I'm trying to give aids, and I think it was causing some confusion. So, but at the time, this is what I was still riding him in because I wasn't really all that serious because of coronavirus. Who knows when we're going to be able to show. So I was just dinking around with him. You can see his head coming up. I'm trying to ask him to come down into the contact, and his head is still going up and down and up and down. Okay, so this video was filmed May 17th. This is the last time I rode him in the barefoot saddle and the Argentine, I believe, which is just a snaffle with a leverage bit. It was windy this day. He wasn't listening. He was just all over the place. It was very difficult for me to manage him and to get him to work forward and come over his back. So this was filmed June 8th, and you can see here the saddle's been changed. So now I'm riding him in Jalal's Albion. So he's in a treed saddle now, and I've switched over to the regular snaffle. So it's a loose ring snaffle, and I've added draw reins. And this is to try to get him to go forward. I actually was wearing my spurs this day. I was going to ride Jalal first, but then he was ready before Jalal. So I said, well, I'll try it and see how it goes. You could see at the beginning of this clip there was a bit of resistance. But what I noticed is that when I did use the spur, he did go more forward, and he was actually starting to drive himself forward, track up better, and he was actually reaching better. So it actually worked out better in the long run. So I am going to now continue to ride him with the spur, and also as needed. And then the draw rein is really helping me to get him in the right position and get him to use his back. You can see there in the halt that he did lift his head, so he's still bracing, but the draw reins help prevent him from disengaging completely. And you can see here there's a little bit of resistance, and then I get him to go forward, and then he's fine. So this last segment was filmed about 3 days ago. This is on the 16th of June. And you can see there I was cantering with him. You can see the transition was better. He wasn't completely able to disengage. And then he starts to stretch down, which is what I've been really trying to get him to do, is to stretch down into my hand. You can see there he moved slightly forward quickly. That was because I did tap him with the spur to get him to go forward. He's tracking up under himself, and he's using his back finally.